Hello, how are you guys doing? Oh, my camera's broken. Of course, why? Why wouldn't it be? Just hang on a second. There we go. Ah, it's always something. Every time I start streaming, it looks like you can hear me. Music's not coming through anymore, but that's fine. I just have to be on the right screen to do that. All right, so I'll just mute that for now. So, well, how's everyone doing? It is the second week of no school, I guess. Is it? No, maybe. I don't know. My kids are home until September now, so it's just tough to get anything done, to put it lightly. Um, so in the last week of their school, I was like, you know, I knew that I only had a little bit of time. I wanted to just have time to myself, so I didn't work on anything basically for a little while, and then they were off school Thursday, and we went out on a pretty long nature walk, which was really cool, and took some video for projects for them to work on later on, and and then this week, the first couple days, I've been sick, so just haven't been able to get anything done, um, other than a few things here and there, and I've just been like organizing, cleaning up my toolbox, and you know, considering like how I'm gonna change the studio around and what tool upgrades I need to do, and um, I've been noticing a lot of back pain and neck pain recently, so I know that it's because of my monitors. I've got this one. My Mac screen is too low. My PC screen is too high. I don't want to go down below 27-inch monitors. I don't want to, not have two monitors on my desk. But I'm going to have to do something because it's not quite right. So, yeah, my wife's working 4 days a week, so it's daddy daycare here, and it's pretty hard to be an entrepreneur at the same time. um, Never getting enough sleep, never having enough energy to really do things. But they both of my kids have some degree of ADHD or something, and it's hard. One monitor in portrait mode. I don't know. It would be hard to get used to. So right now I have one monitor per computer. I don't know if I can get down to a single computer. I would like to, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. My desk is 6 feet long, and I think 2.5 or 3 feet deep. There's a bit of room behind. The problem is getting the screens in the right spot without blocking the speakers. Yeah, it's two separate PCs. So if you look at my overhead, this is my PC keyboard. You can't see the monitor. Monitor's up there. And then down here, I've got my Mac keyboard and mouse. So ideally, I would have everything set up with one keyboard and mouse. But right now, I've got the horrible, maximal option where I've got one audio interface for my PC, one for my Mac. I've got two on my PC. You can see my Mac Studio here. I've got SPDIF cable coming out of the PC, a little USB interface, and then any audio from my PC can come through my audio interface here with no loss. There's my speakers. They're at like the optimal width. Maybe they're a little low, I would say. So yeah, KVM might be the way. to do it. My monitors are Dell 27-inch. I'm not sure of the model. They've got USB 3 ports and HDMI or the other one, DisplayPort. I like them a lot. They're nice monitors, but they, I don't know. It's tricky to get something that big and work with two computers at the same time. They were pretty expensive, so I don't really want to like not use them, you know? I've tried software to share the keyboard and mouse between computers, but there's always some issue like coming from sleep, they will disconnect, and then I gotta have a second, wireless keyboard and mouse just to log in, that sort of thing. I need to lock my computers to keep my kids from touching them. So, not, having that security is not really an option. Most likely I'm going to end up with 3 monitors again here. I have 4 available, and I'm using 2 right now. I've got 2 smaller, one 1080p curved Samsung, and another smaller, like 1680 or something, weird Dell monitor that I've had forever. And the colors are all weird on that, so I don't like using it that much. Yeah, 224s might be the better option. Just I might have to go with mismatched or something. Is my eye level right between them? No, it's not. My Mac monitor is too low, and my PC monitor is too high. So I got bad posture because of that. Ultra VNC would require a password to connect. Yeah, just, I don't know. This has been an issue for 2 years, nearly. Yeah, let's see. Whenever I got the Mac Mini, I guess it was. Yeah, when I first moved here, I was just on the PC, and I was using the Mac, my MacBook Pro, just for doing thumbnails and a few other random things. But yeah, maybe vertical is the way to go. They're about 14 and a quarter if they were in portrait width. So that'd still be like 30 inches between. Just barely. I'd have to have them a bit further apart. I mean, it would make video work more difficult, I think. I'm too quiet? I don't think I'm too quiet. I mean, I can bump my mic up. I got tons of gain. So, all right. Well, hopefully that's better for you. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying a different microphone, and it's hotter than the SM7B. So I'm kind of guessing. It's going into the red in OBS, so I don't know. But I didn't do a test recording, so it's fine. Do we have any members in chat? I haven't noticed any. I haven't noticed any of the icons, but yeah, hopefully there's members and patrons here. I never remember to tell the patrons that I'm going live. I never remember to schedule the live streams, but did you find this through the subscription feed, notifications, or Twitter, Facebook, Discord? Okay. Yeah, I don't mind turning it up. I still got probably another like 25 dB of gain I could put on here, but yeah. In terms of sound, how does this mic sound? This is not my normal mic. I don't know if I want to say what mic it is yet. Notification Squad. So my original plan for today was actually to do a patrons and members only stream, but I think that's something I have to plan a couple days in advance so that people will show up. Otherwise, I'm just talking to myself because I don't have a lot of patrons and stuff. And I know that if I put out a Patreon post, it doesn't, I don't know if it doesn't get delivered or there's often a delay between people coming to a thing. So I don't know. Don't really want to do a stream to no one. But my original plan was to actually clean up my toolbox, and I got to reorganize it, get rid of a bunch of stuff, and yeah. So like that sort of thing is what I do when I don't feel musically inspired. I just clean and organize and declutter and downsize and optimize, I guess. So that's obviously not Reaper related. So I figured that's second channel or patrons only sort of content. We can do that today if you want. I also ran into the issue of I can't get my cameras that far away from this setup. I don't think. Maybe. But it would be a good use to get that wireless mic out again. Anyway, all right, so how does this mic sound? This mic is actually this, the P08 dynamic mic from Donner. And I'll just look that up on Amazon right now. $80 right now. Yeah, no, it does sound pretty good to me as well. So they sent me one for review, and I think it compares pretty well to the SM7B. I don't have a RE20 or a PR40 or RE320 or any of the other broadcast mics available. But yeah, I like the sound of it. I was fairly sick, not fairly sick, but I was somewhat sick the last couple of days. But as soon as I got the mic, I wanted to do an unboxing and record some stuff and compare, and I think it's pretty good. Yeah. And as far as accessories that come with it, they're not great. I would say it does need the foam windscreen, but the cable's not great quality. The shock mount's not amazing. It doesn't need the other pop filter. It needs the foam windscreen, but nothing else. And you could probably get away without having that foam windscreen. But it's a little darker than the SM7B, and I don't know, decent mic. Well, mic pre, this is the Elgato Wave XLR, and currently, oh, hang on, PC. I'll hide OBS for a second. Currently 47 dB of gain. I do have some effects on it. I'll turn the effects off. So here it is flat. No effects, but you're going to hear the processing from, conversion to YouTube, that sort of thing. But with some denoise, very light, and with some dynamic EQ, here's how it sounds. And this is the same effects chain I would normally have on my SM7B. So I have a full review of this coming up, of the mic. I mean, it'll be a sponsored video. But yeah, that's the mic I'm using today. It's a little darker than usual. Yeah. I think the mid-range is just a little bit different. Um, I don't find it overly dark or anything like that, but not unpleasant, not dull, really. Um, I don't know. I guess I roll off some of the highs from the SM7B usually anyways. I did some tests of it just with the speaker playing pink noise and comparing the two mics, and the mid-range kind of levels are definitely, you get more mids and highs with the SM7B, but that was with the foam off, so it's a little different. It's just a little different. Yeah, I think it's pretty decent. Yeah, any questions about Reaper? Hang on a sec. My kids keeps screaming. Be right back. Where the hell's my BRB? There it is. Anyone else have children that scream at their iPad? So, yeah. What was the questions? Job Van Lier, JSFX plugins. I haven't used those at all. I will have to make a note of that to check those out. I will write that down right now. Opening a new MIDI item in Reaper, focus zoom to C4 octave automatically. There's no zoom script for it. I don't know. I don't think I've ever noticed that. I think it zooms to the content automatically. I don't think you can change what octave it goes to. Kids are 16 and almost 20 and they still ruin takes. Yeah, I know it's gonna happen, but what do you guys think of the new stuff that's been added to Reaper recently? I forget what's been in there recently, but yeah, there's some cool stuff with rendering. I didn't make a video about 6.63. Thought about it, but I was sick last week, or this week, so no rush. Doesn't really matter. There was something there that was interesting. Oh, in the previous one, did I not do a video about that? What was my last video? 6.61. In 6.62, there was the there was rendering between markers, right? That was one, was it not? Or is that in the pre-release? Shit, I can never remember. Improve parameter link behavior. Let's see what that is. Seems to be some sort of edge case. Not too important. Column width order presets and an action to load column presets. Kenny covered that in a recent video, right? I'm not sure if he covered that. I know that in a recent video he covered something. Let's go to the videos page. Latest videos. Maybe it's not updated. Oh well. So these are kind of interesting, and I haven't used these at all yet. It hasn't come up. For project marker, add menu item to select marker in region marker manager. Display selected marker slightly differently in ruler. So if we've got, oh, my screen is delayed. Man, my screen is really delayed getting over there. Well, that seems quick now. All right, so yeah, we can right click and we can select now, and it'll be a square there. And in region marker manager, they'll look a bit different. Said. Maybe? No? But basically, yeah, if they're selected, they'll be square. And then in the render window, yeah, there's this selected markers or all project markers. So all project markers is like regions, but it'll kind of automatically set the bounds for the renders between. So if I do all project markers, there's going to be 2 files that render because there's one from marker 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. And you can see that here. So that's fairly useful. Now I can't from the changelog, I can't tell if that's oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, add support for rendering between project markers. So I wanted to make a video about that, but there just isn't enough there, I think, to make a tutorial. I mean, you just saw the tutorial. That's what it is. All right. Let's go back to comments. Oh yeah, and actually should check the version 6.63 update. Marker number wildcard just wasn't documented, but it was there. I thought it was. There's not a lot here as far as I can tell. No, 6.63 is just these 3 items. Yeah, so that's all good. Okay, so Kenny did cover the columns thing recently. How to convert audio to MIDI? There's a few different ways. Kind of depends on what you want to do. So if you have something that is that has different pitches, you can use the Retune plugin. And under the tuner mode, you can send MIDI events on channel 1, and then you would record the output to a new track. So let's say this is our source, and then we have a destination track or a print. We would set the record mode to output MIDI. My screen is frozen again. There we go. Record output MIDI. Okay. Finally it shows up. I'm not using a capture card, I'm using the network, and with children on the network, I guess that's not working so great. Okay, so Retune sends MIDI out as it detects the pitch. Then it sends, then we're gonna make a, doing a MIDI send. All right, so there's the send, and we're sending from track 1 to track 2 MIDI only. So audio set to none and MIDI set to all. The volume in it, everything doesn't matter. Set that one to record. Let's find something with a pitch. Let's try music loops and anything with a word melody in it. No. All right. Oh, come on, teleport. It's not working. It's so laggy. I don't know what's going on. Okay, well, there I printed the notes from that. You didn't see it in real time, but that's how that works. If you just want the it's still laggy. If you just want like the note starts, there's a couple different plugins for that too. So like type in audio to MIDI. Audio to MIDI drum trigger. And this you would set up in a similar way. Just record the output. And there's open and close threshold. There's also the dynamic split tool. Find under the, is it view menu? No, it's the, item menu? Yeah, it's there. Dynamic split items. I have it on a toolbar, so I never look through the menu for that. We can split selected item. Oh yeah, the main thing we want is create chromatic MIDI from slices. And yeah. So that will look like this when it's done. That gets your MIDI notes in time. And then you would just, yeah, if you're in drum view. Oh, sorry. If you're in drum view, then the note length doesn't matter. But it's often helpful to set all the note lengths to like 30-second notes or something like that. So that's a couple ways to do audio to MIDI. Jason asks, does the end boundary marker based on whether it's selected, or will the selected marker end at the next marker regardless of it's selected or not? If there is a marker and there's content after the last marker, then it won't export that section. You should use the end markers to define the equals end marker to define the end of your project. But yeah, going back to, did I delete them? Going back to this, if I have all project markers, it renders from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, but it doesn't touch this section. If I select this marker, right click, select, and I go to selected markers, it's not going to render anything at all because there's no end marker there. So put in another marker here, then it would work, I think. Might have to save and close the settings. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. There we go. Yeah, we could save 2 markers that way. Is there a program for putting chords up on the screen when playing like in Logic? I don't think so. There might be a third-party script, but I haven't noticed one. You, while playing, I'm pretty sure there isn't, but there is scripts to detect which chord it is based on your item selection or note selection in MIDI editor, so you can do that. When are we going to get pre-effects volume knob per channel and post fader effects section? I don't know. I can't say when anything's gonna happen. Probably never. Carlos is asking about inverting mouse button actions. I don't know. I've never tried that. I assume that it will probably yeah, I think you have to do it with the operating system. I don't know. Will Reaper support AAF export? Not likely. There's 2 programs that can do Reaper to AAF, I think. AA Translator is the main one. I mean, Avid doesn't even do it right between Pro Tools and Media Encoder or Media, whatever the thing is, whatever their app is called. It doesn't work for them either. For post audio, do you use sub-projects or project tabs? I use neither. My projects aren't big enough to need it. But, I mean, either would be helpful. Okay, with the marker thing again, if you have markers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, if you select 2 and 4, will 2 stop at 3 or 4? 2 will stop at 3. It always goes to the next marker. Yeah, if you want it any differently, use regions. I'm not sure what the original feature request was for that, but it seemed like something, I think somebody like asked for it, you know, in passing or something, and then it ended up being something easy to implement, so they did it like the same day. Is it possible to create an action to add a marker at the play cursor that already has a preset color defined to quick add different colored markers while recording? There isn't anything built in to do that. There are scripts to insert markers with certain names, and then using autocolor, you could assign it a color, but also you could probably assign it a color through the script. So it's possible. I don't think there's anything made. I think it would be a script, and that would be fairly easy to make. I'm surprised that hasn't been done already. Yeah, regions are more straightforward, but for some reason, I don't know, they added that. How to put a large screen height master meter on the right-hand side. Okay, sure, Adam, try to do that. Okay, so am I gonna have to switch the PC for doing this? My screen still hasn't updated here. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. It seems slow, but yeah, it's not updating at all. So we're gonna go to view floating mixer master, and then that put this here. Wanna no. I'm gonna uncheck show in Docker. Did I do that right? Master track. Separate window? Is that gonna work? No. That's not what we want at all. We want this to be in the Docker. Show in Docker. And then we're gonna have to drag it. And if you don't see the handles for that, you might have to resize it until you see the label. And then you can drag the label where you need it. Didn't. No, just close that. And if I hide my screen. There's a full-size master track on the right side. Yeah. I don't know if we can hide the fader. Does Theme Adjuster do that? There isn't a master track setting, is there? Yeah, I never do this. I've never looked into that. If you just wanted a meter, I'm not sure what to do with that. Super Linux Audio Guru. I remember being able to solo a track while other tracks are playing at lower volume, but I can't remember the setting to choose. Yeah, so that's a solo in front. Right? And you need to go into the preferences and mute solo. And is that this one? Is that this one? Yeah, uncheck this and it should be solo in front. So apply that setting. No, that's not it. What the fuck? I thought that's where it was. Oh, maybe it was disabled in options. Options. Solo in front. See that? Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear it, but they are both. You can see from the meters that they're both playing at the same time. So, yeah. And then the preference sets how quiet that dimming is. And default is -18, I think. Okay, what do you recommend in Repack to help me get workflows going faster? It really depends on what you're doing. A lot of the Repack stuff that I use is just little kind of problem solvers, like my duplicate, the smarter duplicate thing. What the hell is that called? In Repack from Aaron Sendin, there is a send-in Reaper blog, duplicate items or tracks depending on focus and time selection. That one I made a video about, and that one is really helpful. I'll see what I actually have assigned. Radial menu is very cool, although I don't use it on a regular basis, or really at all. But I like it in concept, but I don't use it. And there we go. create folder from selected tracks and rename folder. I find that one very helpful from Me2Beats. Cycling 1.5x and 1x master play rate. I don't think that's actually in Repack, but it's the script I use. Toggle exclusive solo. I'm using that all the time. The move edit cursor to previous and next frame. I use that in every video edit. I can't work without that. So it really depends on what you want to do. If you have if you're doing sound design, you want the NVK stuff, auto Doppler, folder items, NVK create, the license key. NVK create would be one that's you can get through Repack after you purchase it. But yeah, that's a huge workflow thing for making sound variations, sound design. But it could work for percussion sounds as well. NVK, what's the other one? LKC. From LKC, what is good? Well, the ones that I did videos on. Render blocks. Render blocks would be one to use. But he's got a lot of in there too. Hey Mike, how's it going? Question, is there any possibility that I can cut, say, 5 to 10 tracks that are in one folder at once without selecting them and without cutting other tracks? Without selecting? No. But if they're selected, yeah, that's easy. Select and then Control X. If you have some other function to select them by name or by item or track number, you do that. I don't know. Without selecting them, no, you can't. Rearticulate is another great script. If you work on music, if you use Contact or Spitfire stuff, anything with articulations and key switches, rearticulate's huge. Instrument repository like Logic has. I don't know what that means. Do I work on 4K screens or high DPI? No. I use two 27-inch non-high DPI screens. They're 1440p. 2560 by 1440. They're not high DPI, and I like the size. I got used to that resolution for when I had my iMac. The iMac was slightly bigger than that because it had the dock area or the menu area. But yeah, I got used to that size. And what's the question? Okay, how how do you comfortably see writing automation envelopes? I don't edit automation envelopes with the mouse very often. I use the automation modes, usually latch preview, to do everything I need. Um, Otherwise, I'm using actions just to move things up 2 dB at a time, usually. How appealing was that thumbnail that I chose today? I was just going through what I had on my PC, and that was just like one that stood out. I'm sure I've used it before, but yeah, I hope that's what helped make you click on it. When you open Logic, there's a library you have access to with all sorts of instruments you can use in a MIDI roll. No, Reaper doesn't have that. The cross-platform option for that would be um, Complete Control, and that's free. Um, what's the other one? Arturia's Analog Lab would be similar, I think. Um, although everything is kind of played within that instrument, but internally it's using any of the Arturia synths, or with the Complete Control, that's taking all the contact and reactor and other native instrument synths and playing them within its own kind of browser and interface. It's a pretty good system. But yeah, nothing built into Reaper because it doesn't really come with an extensive library of instruments and sounds. Regarding latch preview mode and writing that automation, how do you prevent the wonkiness that happens as one section of automation enters the next? Sometimes it causes extra points. Yeah, sometimes it causes extra points. Look into your transition times, and maybe if it's consistently too long or something, then adjust that. Mine, if I remember correctly, I'll just look it up. My action transition time is 250 milliseconds, and I think I based that on probably a certain number of frames for 30 FPS. But it works well enough for music for me. But you might want to make that shorter. And yeah, if there's an extra point, I'll just alt click on it to delete it. Yeah, for your 4K screen, maybe it's too far away if it's difficult to see that stuff. I don't know. Oh, you guys can't even hear the music. I'm just listening to this music and you guys can't hear it at all. How do I get the audio? Is that this? No, no. Now there's music, right? The world is ready for another paid mixing and Reaper course. When do you want my dollars? Yeah, I haven't been doing a lot of mixing recently. Since the last one, there hasn't been any major breakthroughs in my workflow. Like there was before. Like between 2 and 3, I did the speed mixing course from, was it URM Academy, Nail the Mix, that sort of thing. I helped them make the Reaper version of that, and so I ended up applying a lot of that stuff to my mixes. And with COVID and stuff, I just didn't. I had the kids home for 2 years, so I couldn't, work full-time mixing. So in that time, I haven't done a ton of mixing. But it's definitely been too long since the last course was released, so I should do that again. And on Monday, I'm starting a summer school sale on the courses. They'll be 50% off for, I don't know, rest of the month or something. Pat asks, is there a reason why my volume from one track sent to a bus is a bit quieter in peak measurement than the track it's sent from? That is your pan law. So you want to use a 0 dB pan law on buses and folders. Otherwise, it's 3 dB every time you send, or -3, usually. Think Reaper will ever implement a better native sampler? Maybe. I think it's fine for like the old school sampler vibe that it has. Like, I mean, I don't have a big frame of reference, but like a lot of the old samplers would do the time stretch resampling, and they would just do basically one sound at a time. I don't know. There's so many other samplers. Like, just use one you like. Why do the stock plugins need to compete with third party? I think they would rather just be super compatible with everything and let everyone choose what they want. Hotkey starter layout. I would get your most used shortcuts on the left side and with no modifiers. So I use A to trim to start, S to split, D to... what is D? That's the wrong damn keyboard. D is trim, crop to selection, or trim to selected area. Then F is trim fade start. G is fade end. Q is insert re-EQ. And I've got a bunch of others, but the basics like undo, cut, copy, paste. I have all of those without modifiers on Z, X, C, and V. And then with modifiers, they'll do things like in selection, or Shift Z will be redo. Lots of little things like that. Just optimizing left side of the keyboard for speed. And I use numbers 1 through 5 for screen sets, and 5 through 8 no, 6 through 8 for zoom presets. But a lot of that stuff I need to redo. A lot of this stuff, just depending on the type of project you do, you have to kind of rebuild your default setup. Music is cutting out. Yeah. I don't know. It's probably the network. Probably the network settings. I'll just get offline on all my stuff here. So it's just the music playing in the browser. The Bun is here. Hey, Bun. Hey, Scott. What's the current temperature for everyone? Come on. Don't talk about the weather. Anyone in the south is going to win. Reaper has to be the smallest download of any DAW. It's about 11 megabytes. Yeah, that's such a huge benefit of Reaper, like that you can download, install, load your config file within a minute and be ready to go. It'll take longer to scan your plugin folder probably, but yeah, it's so fast. It's got to be faster than downloading Audacity. I don't know how they must have like some crazy compression thing, because once you extract it, it's like 150 megabytes or something. They're doing like a 10-to-1 compression. Recorded some tracks, saved, reopened Reaper. The project was empty, but the tracks were saved in the folder. Is there a way to get the tracks back in the project with the same position? Okay, well, it sounds like you didn't save. Two things come to mind. First would be autosaves. So let's go back to my Mac. Do you have auto backups enabled? Those are under preferences, project. Oh, come on. I don't know what's up with my my teleport is not working at all. Now you see it, but it's low quality. Okay. You need auto backup saved. Even if you don't save your project, when this is enabled, you'll have backups. So every 6 minutes, it'll save to a folder. You choose where that goes. Mine is under users and temp. And you can see since I started the stream today, it's been backing up even though I haven't saved the project. So it just says untitled. So every 6 minutes going back, if there was a change during that time, it will make a backup. So there's that. Then the other thing is, let me find some files that were actually recorded in Reaper. Oh yeah. So the sort by date. All right. So if I import a file and right-click. Item processing. You can't quite see this, can you? Put on this track. Right click, item processing, move items to source preferred position. This will work with WAV files, and that puts it into the correct time. So if there's no project file at all, but there's audio recorded on the drive, dump them all into Reaper do that on all of them, and it will move them into time. Let me do that with multiple files on multiple tracks. So these files I'll import on separate tracks. Some were recorded in different places in the original project, so item processing, move items to source preferred position, and that puts them in the original time position that they were in the project originally. So that's a great way to reconstruct a project if it's saved without, or if you quit without saving. Or if someone sends you a file but not the project and has no timing reference, that's a good way to do it. Being so fluent in Reaper, is there anything in your workflow where you still have a bad habit and know better? I need to think about that. So there's a lot of things that have been improved over the years, but I still do the old way. And I don't know why. That sort of thing. Like, it took me a long time to get used to doing razor edits. I just wouldn't use them. Just because the alt-right drag is kind of a hard shortcut for me to remember. So I had to force myself to use that and to use them more often. But yeah, now I really like them. It's just sort of like a muscle memory thing. Yeah, other than that, I'm not really sure. It happens a lot with plugins. Like I'll buy a new plugin and I'll use it for a week and I'll go back to my old one. And not because it's better or worse, it's just because it's more convenient. Do you have any hotkeys on your mouse buttons? Have you considered it? Yeah, I do. So, can you see this? It's a Corsair scimitar. Oh, come on. Damn Stream Deck never works when I need it to. Anyway, Corsair scimitar. You've got to deal with the stupid IQ software. So I've got a bunch of them. And I just have them assigned to different shortcuts in Reaper. So some of my most used ones, if I do find shortcut, -2 dB selected envelope section and +2. And then if I hold down the shift key and do either of those, then it's going to send a different action to it, and that's silent selected envelope section. So yeah. And what else? I've got some like trimming selections. Shrink item by half and ripple gap. I use that a lot in video edits. Hand scrolling. Oh, this is not coming through, is it? I'm gonna have to switch back to a hardwired thing. NDI and teleport just do not work reliably. Or at least when streaming. For recording, I haven't had an issue yet. I think my last 2 or 3 videos haven't had an issue with that. But this is just not working today. So yeah, I do use a multi-button mouse. I don't necessarily recommend getting this one because the software sucks and it's constantly crashing on Mac, and it's confusing, but it feels good, and the buttons are nice to have. So yeah. Internet is down in a lot of Canada. Internet's not down for me, but I have no cell service. I use Fido, and Fido is down, but internet seems fine. It's just probably the kids on the Wi-Fi and trying to play music maybe at the same time. Don't know. Audacity's 33 megabytes. Yeah. It's so clunky too. Okay. I have an X32 rack. I'm looking to do an 8-track render for backing tracks with an X Live SD card. I noticed there is Wave 8-track capability export. Yeah. I don't know anything about the like reading backing tracks off an SD card on the rack, but if you want to do a render with multiple tracks, then you'll need your Reaper master track to have that many tracks, that many track channels. So I'll show you in the mixer. Take your master track, click the routing button. Track channels, instead of 2, you want that to be 8. If it's going to be 8 mono channels or 4 stereo, maybe you want 16. I don't know. So let's say 8. And then file render. And then you would render master mix and set your track channels. You can put 8 here, but you can also type in any number. So you can type in 52 and it'll render a 52 channel file. 64 is the limit, I believe. But yeah, you can render 8. And let's do entire project. Actually, cancel. Let's do a dry run because I actually don't need that. And yeah, so it would be an 8-channel wave file there. And so I don't know about the X32, but if it can do that, if it can play back 8 tracks from a single wave file, then that would be the way to do it. For the Melodyne question, I don't know anything about that. Might be something like you have to open Melodyne standalone and then check the preferences there. But it's probably not going to store data on a per project basis. It's probably it's only in one cache, just for convenience, I guess. Do you recommend changing pan law for effects buses as well? Yeah, I don't use pan law at all. I set mine to 0 just because it's the most straightforward and avoids a lot of the issues like you've run into. But if you want to do like a -3 pan law to match some other DAW or whatever you're used to, then you would just make sure that your buses or folder tracks are set to 0, and that shouldn't do that issue that you had, the -3 each time you send. It's that issue gets bad when it's like you've got let's say 2 kick mics in a kick folder, and then the kick folder's in the drum folder, and then the drum folder's in the instruments folder, and then each time it's, by the end it's 12 dB quieter, so it gets annoying. Is there a way to make MIDI notes with rounded corners? No? It's going to sound the same. How do I like the Wave XLR? I think it's pretty solid. I love that they added in the VST option. So that's going to VST hosting will allow you to like have effects on your mic, and give you the option of recording with or without, depending on the on how you have it set up. And you can send those different signals to different things. And yeah, just overall, it's really cool. I mean, I wish it had proper audio outputs, because it might actually replace my main interface if it did. If it had monitor outs or a SPDIF out, that would be great. But with just the one XLR in and 1/8 inch headphone out, it's a little limiting for music production anyways. But for playing games and streaming, it's great. And I like how compact it is. Can you save a mixer setup like Final Mix? If you are thinking like on a digital console, then look into the snapshots function from SWS. That will save your fader positions, the sends and receives, the effects. I don't believe it saves automation. It might not save polarity. Actually, I have to check that. At one point, it wasn't saving polarity. No, they added that, so it'll save phase and source offset, media offset. So this is the snapshots. Very useful tools. So right-click, new snapshot, and let's change these volumes here, just for an example. All right, so they're all kind of randomized. Right-click, new snapshot, and then I can just a left click will load them. And my screen capture isn't working. Yeah, SWS extension is for Reaper. Yeah, sorry about my screen capture not working today. It's usually solid. Yeah, so if you want something that's like a console workflow, that's pretty good. There are ways to like load snapshots mid-song, which can be kind of cool, but just keep in mind that's not going to work with rendering, so not really recommended. But it's very good to like keep one project and have different mixes within it. Yeah, and there's a ton of options here. You can import a snapshot from a different song and apply it to your current song, and it'll match by track names and things like that. Very powerful, useful thing. Tricks up your sleeve for an easier MIDI writing workflow? Not really. I don't know. Customize your toolbar. Customizing your toolbar is a huge one. And so my customized MIDI toolbar has things like the grid settings here, buttons for humanizing and quantizing and transposing, different things like MIDI edit mode and drum edit mode, zoom presets, and just your most used things. Put them on the toolbar buttons, customize your shortcuts. I had some videos recently, probably not recently, within the past year, we'll say, about MIDI editor customization and workflow tips and stuff on my channel. So check that out. Anyone have experience using Reaper Live with foot switches similar to Ableton? VST amp control and session transport control for backing tracks. Where does one start with this? Yeah, so I've done a bunch of sessions with Tycho, like Zoom calls with Tycho, where he is setting things up like that, or he does that a lot for his live shows. It's a pretty complicated setup, but if you just want the basics of it, your foot controller pedal is going to send MIDI, and you can choose to set that up as a control surface, where it's using the control surface protocol, or else you're linking things to Reaper's action list. So things like play, stop, those can be assigned there. Controlling the effects needs to be done through the MIDI link function in the plugin. Generally, there's a few different options. So where does one start? I guess getting the controller would be where you start, and then see what MIDI commands it sends out. If it does only, it kind of depends on where you want to customize it. If it has its own editor, you can customize things. Otherwise, you're using Reaper to link to whatever MIDI messages it sends out, and then modifying Reaper's side. There's Reaper's action list, there's the relearn plugin or extension, and then there's the control surface integrator would work as well. But usually it's the first two that we see being used. Adaptive grid. Adaptive grid, do I have that? Okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to use that. Thank you, Jason. That's awesome. Adaptive grid is very cool. I don't know if this is going to come through on the stream, but with adaptive grid on, based on how far out you're zoomed, it will add in or subtract grid lines. So, yeah, that didn't come through on the stream at all. But, yeah. Great tip. Well, I'm glad I did the stream today. That one tip just improved MIDI workflow by a lot. What DAW surfaces have I used or that I know work with Reaper? I've used the Behringer BCF 2000 for many years until I destroyed it. And pretty much all of the control surfaces will work, but they all take a bit of effort to get the most out of them. So most of them will work with Mackie control out of the box, or maybe Reaper has a built-in kind of setup for it, and you'll get the main like faders and panning, maybe automation mode switching, transport controls. That'll all be kind of set up automatically. But things like, you know, button X does function Y, you know, that sort of thing. You need an extension like Control Surface Integrator, CSI, to make everything custom for you. Or even things like, you know, moving the fader and how fast you want that to move, or how smoothly you want that to be. Plugin control with that control surface requires SWS, requires CSI to do that. So, worth doing for sure, but I don't know, go with whatever fits your budget. They'll all work, and all the major ones have had users customize them already, and so it's just a matter of downloading and installing the CSI preset files. CSI 2.0 is almost ready for release. Nice. Yeah, I wish my controller still worked. I don't even know where it is. So, if you guys missed the previous streams, last time I rearranged my studio and moved this wall here, the acoustic panels behind the amps fell and slid this off the table, like face down onto the floor, and the whole panel was all cracked and the knobs were pushed in and none of the faders moved anymore. And then we did a stream trying to fix it and got close, but and I've spent some more time, like probably another hour on it since then, trying to get it even better. It's I think it's dead. Okay, technically it works. It's just the faders will stick and then jump and randomly change your settings, and it's just not like it used to be. But I don't know if you can still get those, but they're fine. They're noisy. The functions are very bare bones, but with the CSI layout, what do you call it? The Repack BCF layout that I showed in a video, that works really well, I'd say. And even for plug-in control, it's pretty nice. But I am looking for something different now, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna go with. I like the look of the soft tube stuff. I know that will work with CSI. I'm kind of afraid that Softtube will just discontinue it or stop making software for the latest operating systems, and then it'll just be dead. That happens too often with music production hardware. What ones were you considering? I'm gonna put this away while you're typing it. And actually, it's 11:30 here, so I gotta go eat. I gotta actually cook for everyone, so I think we're gonna end it here. So thank you so much for watching the stream today. It's been fun. I learned a bit. You guys have hopefully learned a bit as well. And yeah, it's good to talk to you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for your support. And we'll see you guys in a future video. Thanks to my patrons and YouTube members. See you guys later.